Hey everyone, thanks for joining me again. Today we're looking at the X-Duo MH02. And I'd like to thank Apos Audio for loaning me a sample for review. The MH02 is a compact desktop headphone amplifier and DAC. It's a hybrid design with tube amplification and a transistor buffer similar to the more upmarket TA22, but this one at a third of the price, coming in at around $149. Looking at the unit, it has a super solid build quality, like most X-Duo products that I've checked out lately. On the front we have the headphone outputs. First, a 6.35mm single-ended, followed by a 4.4mm balanced, and finally a 3.5mm single-ended. Then something that X-Duo seems to always get right, a super smooth volume pot that's milled very nicely with grooves for grip. On both sides of the volume pot, you have an LED that activates when you have the DAC connected to your computer. And that auto-selects the digital input, so you're using the DAC. If you want to use the line level input, you have to disconnect the USB-C cable. And finally, a gain button. When the button is in the in position, you get plus 12 dB of gain, and when the button is in the out position, you get plus 18 dB of gain. And this headphone amp puts out up to 1.3 watts of power at 32 ohms. Aesthetically, I think it has a super interesting look and I really like it. On the top, you have a pair of 6J1 tubes, and on the rear, starting from the left, one set of analog RCA ins, one set of RCA pre-outs, a single digital in on USB-C. I would have liked to have seen a Toslink as well. Next to that, a power input. As this is a pretty powerful headphone amp, it does require an external power supply at 12 volts 2 amps, which is included in the box. And finally, a very nice power toggle. The MH02 has a protection circuit that will mute this unit for about 30 seconds before it sends that output signal, so it prevents pops. So be patient, this is normal operation. The bottom of the unit has some silicone dots that keep it from sliding around on your desk. I tested the MH02 with its included power brick as well as with an iFi iPower X. I found that the iPower X did help to darken the background slightly, and that was clearly apparent with IEMs, although not so much with headphones. The included DAC is a Cirrus Logic CS43131, capable of handling PCM files up to 32-bit 384 kHz, and 4 times DSD, so DSD 256. And with that, I'll jump to the sound quality. I think that X-Duo did an excellent job at matching this Cirrus Logic chip with this headphone amplifier. The sound you get isn't exactly balanced or neutral, but I think a lot of times that's the purpose behind these devices. The bass is warm and full, the mid slightly forward but not in your face, and the highs are good, but at times can get a little crunchy. The detail was there, but not with the best clarity. You do get a soundstage, but not the kind that completely surrounds you. More so, it's in front of you. One thing to note, the included 6J1 tubes are super microphonic, and I really didn't like the included tubes. Just plugging in my headphones, I got a ton of ringing. And any little tap or movement on the chassis picked up as well. After listening for a while, I decided to change out the tubes. So I tried a set of GE 5654Ws that I had on hand. I instantly found those much less microphonic, and those also tightened up the sound as well. The bass stayed deep and full but was a little more controlled, and that crunchiness that's sometimes shown in the high frequencies was reduced as well. The GEs also gave me a little more clarity. And at under 20 bucks a pair, that's an upgrade that I'd recommend right out the door. As soon as you get this unit, just order those tubes as well. Here's a quick demo to hear those microphonics on the stock tube versus the GE tube, and I'd suggest listening with headphones. I also tested the MH02 by adding an SMSL SU1 DAC to the line in, and I instantly preferred the Cirrus Logic DAC built in. The SU1 seemed to lack a little bass and was a little too sharp in this combination. I also compared the MH02 with the FX Audio 205 and SU1 combination, and I found that to sound smoother, and while still colored, it had a more tonally balanced sound. That headphone amp uses a single 12AU7 tube and comes in at $200 for the headphone amp and the SU1. $50 more expensive than the MH02. Now the MH02 is definitely the more powerful of the two, capable of 1300 milliwatts versus 960 milliwatts, but I personally don't listen to headphones that loud, so I found myself usually at 10 o'clock on the MH02 and at around 30 on the 205's volume setting. One thing that did annoy me, and is common on more entry-level equipment, is a channel imbalance at low volumes. And I did have this problem with the MH02. When I would listen to very low volumes, I'd lose output on my right channel, and I'd have to increase the volume to get output on both left and right sides of my headphones. At first I thought this had something to do with the tubes, but the problem still persisted when I switched over to the GE tubes, so I'm assuming that it might be the volume pot used. If you guys have tried this and don't have this issue, please do let me know in the comments. I'd love to know if it's just my unit or if this is a common problem with most of these units. I do recall having the same problem on my Ampapa A1 at its lowest volume setting as well. So to recap, my overall impressions of the X Duo is that I really do like the sound of this unit. They did a great job integrating the DAC, it sounds great at moderate levels and can get pretty loud, it has great build quality, and I love its small footprint. At $149, I see this fitting in awesome in a lot of homes and offices. It's a fun product at a great price. And that's all I have for you guys today. I'll see you in the next one, and thanks for watching.